welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing one of my most requested video tutorials, which is a makeup tutorial that is detailed enough to show you all the steps and the products that I use. I hope you guys enjoy this video very much. Let's get into it. I usually go in by brushing my brows with this old toothbrush that I have to just put them in place, and then I use this brow pencil to draw my brows. I start off with the bottom brow and I make sure to just use it to aid some sort of direction, and then whenever I carve out the top of the brow, I usually go further away from where I started drawing the brow, or the bottom brow line, because I don't want them to look blocked and it makes them look a bit too straight and ashy in front, and I want to create a much more bushy brushed look because that makes the brows look much more better. I then brush my brow with an old toothbrush again to just make sure that they look fluffy and full, and then I go in with my concealer from Essence, the Camouflage Matte, in the shade 50 Warm Toast. I usually just carve this brow out with a very flat brush, and I only carve out the outer corners of the brow and not the beginning of the brow. I usually use the Yardley London in the shade Caramel to carve out the start of the brow, because I don't want our brows to look ashy, or rather a form of halo brows, which is why I'm using the same shade to carve out the top of the brows, because we don't want them to look like halo brows and no flashbacks whatsoever. I then go in with the same shade that I used to carve out and conceal my brows onto the top of the eyelid, because this is us prepping for our eyeshadow look. And usually I use this powder palette to basically mattify the lids, because this makes it easy for the eyeshadow to not crease easily. I then use this brow powder as my darkest shade today, and I use a very full but fluffy brush so that I make sure that that product sits but also moves, because eyeshadow looks require a lot of blending. And I'm going on with this brown nudish color onto the top of the harsh line that was created by that dark powder brow, and yeah, it just makes it look seamless and very refreshed in an essence, because everything that is too harsh to the eye hurts my eyes personally. I then go on with the lighter shade to just carve out the bottom of the brow and to just top it off to make sure that the bottom brow creates that halo effect, because it's the bottom brow. With the same leftover product, I use that to apply onto my lid once again, and I'm going in with this red color to just put all that pigment onto the start of the lid into just halfway or the middle. Then I go in back with that medium shade that I used before to just blend out that red color, and to just make sure that it's also seamless, very very seamless, because we don't want an ashy looking eyeshadow look. I then go in with this black shade to just make sure that I am creating a smoky effect with that black, using the same brush that I used, because it's a very good brush when you want to apply stagnant colors, colors that you don't want to move a lot. It's very great for that. I then go in with my Liquid Slick eyeliner duo that I got from Scarlet Hill Mr. Price. It has one side that is slightly angled and one side that is slightly pointy. I use the side that is slightly angled to just aim the eyeliner, because with some people they can struggle a bit. So if ever you're struggling to nail your eyeliner, this does the hook, you know. And then with that other pointed side of the eyeliner, I use it to then draw and make sure that I am just refining those missing pieces of the eyeliner. I then use it to also make sure that I am drawing my inner corner eyeliner, because I'm wearing these eye contacts because I literally just want to look like a cat. This makeup look that I'm going for is literally that type of like unapproachable makeup look era, or like that black cat feminine energy type of like look, you know. So this is why I'm also carving out the eyeliner with the same concealer that I used to conceal the brows, and I'm doing this at the bottom as well, you know, at the side, because you want that eyeliner to be as crisp as possible. Once that is done, I then go in with my Dr. Rochelle Vitamin C Serum. It's both a skincare serum, but it's also a primer, and I use it to just prep my skin to make sure that everything is set before I go in with my Fit Me Matte Poreless primer, to just make sure that skin prep is, you know, to the T. That's the other thing that I wanted to share. Prepping your skin is very important because it will determine how well your base sits. I then go in with my Snail Gel 99% setting spray before going with everything, and then I'm just using it to set the skin. While that is still sitting a bit, I'm using this eye green lash glue. I love lash glue that is clear because it makes it better for whenever you make mistakes, unlike black glue. Whenever I apply my eyelashes, I usually hold a mirror and then I look down, but with my eye open. Make sure that you place the lashes exactly where they need to be. Once that is done, I'm going in with my Fit Me Poreless foundation in the shade 350, and the same one I used to cover the brow, which is the Yardley London Caramel shade. And I usually use brushes to blend out most of my products, because I believe that beauty blenders suck up products and it's very difficult for you to move them around. So this is why you see me using a brush instead of a beauty blender. I also want you to pay attention to the fact that I didn't apply too much product onto the forehead, because the forehead tends to be stagnant with product, and I usually just use the leftover of what was on the rest of the face on the forehead, because we don't want that ashy, very stagnant look onto the forehead. Once I am done with that, I then use the Crayolan palette that I've had for ages while I was still studying, and I'm going in with the shade D16 to contour my jawline. I usually use the ear to jaw ratio now that I'm a bit experienced in makeup, whereas with other people usually suck in their cheeks to make sure that they nail where their contour should sit. But for me, the ear to jaw ratio works perfectly fine, and I use this to also just blend out the bottom jawline to accentuate the face as much as possible and to bring as much warmth back into the skin as possible. This is why I personally use contour, besides the fact that I'm also shaping the skin. I then apply the contour onto the bottom jawline as well, because like I said, we want to snatch the face as much as possible. And I use it into the hairline as well, on the forehead a bit, and I also use the residue of whatever I have used onto the bridge of my nose or the sides of the bridge of my nose, because I don't like using too much product whenever I am contouring my nose, because it makes the nose look fake, and that is not what we want. Okay, as much as it's makeup, we want to make it look realistic as possible. Then I use my angled brush to blend out everything that has been just applied with the contour sponge, and just makes it look very neat, and it blends all those harsh lines in between. And you have to make makeup look like there isn't anything there, because you don't want it to make it too obvious in an essence. Once that is done, I then go into highlighting. So I usually don't swipe product, but I usually tap product. I've learned this trick as I was experiencing a lot of like your caking, a lot of like your, the product moving and whatnot. So I usually use this on my forehead, bridge of the nose, under eye because of pigmentation and eye bags, upper lip, and the chin. While my concealer is still setting, I use this 2 shades to apply blush on my cheeks. I usually do this because I love blush, and sometimes it looks better when you do the blush first. And I apply the blush onto my cheeks and straight into my jawline, into the hairline. I also love mixing my blush with an orange type of like shade, because it just brings that warmth and a bit of citrusy into the look. I love looking like, I don't know man, it just creates that thing for me personally. I then start with the forehead. I start blending out the forehead first, because less is more on the forehead, really. Less is really more. And then after that, I will then go on to the bridge of the nose. After the bridge of the nose, it's then the chin, and then the upper lip, and then I usually end off with the under eye, because that's where usually you will have a lot of like pigmentation, eye bags, and so on. So it's best advised to finish off there, because you will make sure that the product moves and you are able to control it. You don't want product to control you, you control the product, which is why I prefer to not blend with a beauty blender, because beauty blender sucks up product instead of moving product and penetrating product into the skin exactly where you need it to be. You must make sure that your blending is very, very good, and you're blending out. You must move in a very outward motion, because this spreads the product as much as possible, especially when you are doing the under eye. Once that is done, to just create a brighter under eye look, I go in with this Wet n Wild concealer to just hide away all those imperfections and to just give it like a bright under eye look, because you see a difference between before I apply that concealer and then now. And then once everything is done, I use that same brush that I used to apply my foundation to blend everything all out, because remember what I said, we don't want to look ashy and streaky. So this just helps to blend everything out beautifully, because if you would use a clean brush, there is a high possibility it might take away the product, or a beauty blender, it might take away the product, which is not initially what you want. And then to just set the concealer, I go in with this compact powder, because it's easier for the setting powder to sit properly exactly where you need it to once you have applied compact powder. So basically compact powder, it helps to penetrate the banana powder, loose powder, very well into the skin, so it controls where it sits and how it sits. And I just apply it on all the places that I have applied concealer, and most places that are most likely to crease, like the sides of the lips and the outer corners of the nose as well. And then for setting and baking, I use the Ben Nye banana powder. I've used it for years. It has never let me down. And I use a beauty blender to apply this, because it is much more controllable than applying it with everything else. I usually apply it again on all the places that I've applied the concealer and the compact powder, and it usually just sits there while I do something else, you know. While that is still sitting, I usually go in with my black eyeliner, or let me say pencil liner, to just make sure that I make the waterline look very dark, because I want my eyes to look smaller, whereas if you wanted to make your eyes look bigger, you would use a white pencil. I'm going in with my powder contour. Like when I tell you this is the holy grail, you can tell with how finished it is. I think it's from Yardley, but I don't remember what it is, because like I say, most of my products I know Uguti, I've got it from where and where, but the names have literally flourished because of just how much I use them. And I usually also use this powder palette whenever I am installing my wigs. It usually just melts into the skin so well. Just look at that. You can literally see the difference between before I applied and after I have. And yeah, I applied exactly where I've contoured, and just make sure that everything is seamless and there is a bit of tone back into the skin. I then go in with a fluffy brush to make sure that I dust off the excess powder. And you need to make sure that you stay for long here. You have to make sure, because this will make or break your makeup look. I actually even pinch my brush to make sure that that excess powder is removed carefully, you know, because you don't want to move everything else that you've applied. And yeah. Once that is done and completed, I go with a powder that is almost my skin tone to then pat throughout the entire face. And then once again, I drench myself in the setting spray because that is the holy grail of the look. And then while I'm just waiting for my setting spray to dry out, I just wipe off the excess product that is on my lips because I'm about to do my lips. Once that has dried, I then go in with my highlighter. I basically highlight the cheeks, the forehead, the upper lip, the chin, and the bridge of the nose, because this is where light is most likely going to hit the most if you're shooting, or if you're outside like that. These are the places that are most likely going to be so you want to make sure that they are And then I basically use my finger to do my nose. I use my middle finger, get the product, dust it off on my skin, and then tap it very much. I tap as much as possible onto the bridge of the nose. And then to finish up the rest of the nose, I use a very fluffy brush and I dust off the excess, and then I apply it on, because you don't want a highlighter that looks too stagnant until and unless you're going for that look. But that is not what I'm going for today. So yeah, I also use it just a bit on the corners of the bridge of the outer brow, just to create that effect, because that's also where light will most likely hit whenever you're taking pictures. Then I'm just lining the lips with the same pencil that I used to draw the brows, because what's life without lip liner? You get me? Yeah, today I've decided to use brown because everything else is fighting for me. I go in with my favorite lipstick. You can tell with the state of its mind that it is tired of me, and I usually apply it on the bottom lips only, and then I use the rest of that product to blend it out, and I blend. I tape the lips together. I tape as much as possible. I will then go in with my lip gloss to just finish off the lip look. Once that is dry, and then putting on my earrings. I thought I will never be a big earring girly, but I've tried it once, and listen, I'm loving it here. I love them so much, and I think I'm gonna have a collection. This is just me fixing my hair with my hot comb, because that wig is laid. We want to make sure that the final touches are just to the T, so that I'm ready for the videos and the pictures. The pictures, you guys. Yeah, but this is me basically done with the makeup look, and I think I nailed this look. I absolutely ate it up, and this is the type of look you would also have whenever you're going out at night. I'm then using my body shimmer to just add that shine on my chest, and then okay guys, so here is the final look of the makeup look. Did I not eat it, or did I not eat it down? And that is on period. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching up until the end. I can't wait to see how beauties try my makeup routine out and let this face cuts be lethal for real. Thank you so much for joining my loves. I'll be doing more of these, sharing other tricks on how to do other types of like makeup, you know. But yeah, thank you for joining in.